Welcome back to the Quirky Cast. If you are just listening in to this episode, we are concluding the second half of our life-changing Europe trip that we went on a few years ago. Pretty much telling you all the stories on this 35-day trip to 9 different countries, 14 different cities with 43 people that we do not know.
With EF Ultimate Break.
And like I said in last week's video, it is not sponsored. It is us who paid with our own hard-earned working money, but I possibly have an ambassador code that will be down in the show notes. If it is there, you can go check it out to save some money for your own trip. So again, if you are just popping into this episode, make sure you listen to last week's episode first to hear all about our first leg of the trip. We went to Paris, Madrid, Barcelona, London, and Amsterdam. So now we're going to hop into the second half.
So to start the second half, we went to Berlin.
Ooh, okay. I don't think I had any expectations.
Yeah, I didn't really know much about Germany or any of that. We did go to one other place in Germany as well, but we will get to that in a few minutes. But Berlin, yeah, I had no expectations. We did see the Berlin Wall.
I also feel like these next few countries that we're going to talk about were in the smack middle of our 35-day long trip. So we were kind of like just needing a break. Like we were exhausted.
Yeah. And I also think like, yes, Germany is great and everything, but yes, these next 3 places that we went to, I feel like we didn't really care about them that much and they weren't that exciting to us. But we will get through this fast, simple and easy and get to the fun stuff.
Yeah.
But we have to share even the bad stuff.
Yeah. Berlin. So I do remember us going to, there was like a popular pool spot that is in Berlin. It pretty much is like an outdoor pool.
I think it was like in the water. I think it was a pool built into the water.
When we were kind of refreshing our brain, I forgot about these details about this pool.
Like the rules?
Yeah.
Okay. So we got there and we were like, wow, this is so cool. There's a pool on the river. Like I've never seen anything like this. I think we had to pay to get in and I think it was like not cheap. It was probably like $20 maybe.
Yeah.
Euros or whatever.
Because it was a hot day. We wanted to go in the pool.
Yeah. And so we get there, we pay. First of all, it was so hard to find. We went down like so many alleyways. We went down so many streets and we were like, where is this place? But so we finally made it there. We paid the fee to get in. And, you know, I brought my GoPro with me. I'm so excited to film literally everything and anything. And we walk up and like before you even get into the pool, there's like a security guard there. And it's like all these things that you can't have. And it was like no phones, no cameras, no this, no that. And I was like, I'm going to sneak my GoPro in. I think I tried to. I think I kind of just like had it down at my leg. And the security guard was like, no cameras. And I was like, okay, I'll go put it back. But yeah, and then we got into this pool. But it was crazy how they had someone there like monitoring what you can bring in and out. Like, I wonder why. Like if they just, because it was pretty hidden. So maybe they just didn't want it to be like a really big thing.
And also, I haven't been to a public pool before. So I thought it was very interesting that you had to take a shower before getting into the pool.
Wow, I did not remember that.
You had to wash off your body, which I get. Like, honestly, thinking about it, that's smart.
Yeah.
But I was like, I remember the shower was freezing cold. And I was like, I am like dripping, like shaking before getting into the pool. I was like, I'm already wet. Like, because normally getting into a pool, it's kind of like the fun, kind of taking it slow, getting in, or like jumping straight in and like putting your head under. But you're already like shaking like a dog, like freezing before getting into the pool. And then when you get out of the pool, you have to take a shower again to like wash off.
Yeah. I have been to a few public pools and they usually do say like rinse off before getting in, but like I feel like I've never done that, but I have always seen like there are always showers at public pools.
All right, I'm gonna take in the intro for this next country. Okay, I don't want to sound, you know, me saying this, I'm so ungrateful for experiencing this amazing place.
Yes.
And having the worst time.
Yeah.
Like I said, it was literally smack dab in the middle of our entire 35-day long trip. Any and every little thing was just like irking me. I was like, yo, I need a break. I need to sleep for the next week to get my rest in. Because we're waking up at 7 a.m., 6 a.m. every single day, going to bed at midnight.
Yeah.
This is what we signed up for. This is what we paid for. Like, I fully understand. So we arrive to the Czech Republic, Prague. That is very well talked about. People love this country, the city. It's one of the like voted top cities of the world.
Really?
It has a beautiful architecture.
Going into Prague, we did stop in this little town and we got lunch there. And the buildings were very cool. They were very grungy. There was like dragons like perched up, like the little statues and stuff. But we got lunch at this place and we got an iced coffee. And it was the best thing that we have ever had. We've now learned it's called affogato, and it's literally ice cream with coffee poured over.
One thing about Europe is they don't have ice. Like they don't serve ice with their drinks.
Yes, that's what we should have started with.
So when you ask for an iced coffee, you know, it makes sense. Ice cream with the coffee.
Yeah.
Honestly, I remember it was like morning. It was like 10 or 11 a.m.
Yeah.
And these people are probably bringing over 4 affogatos to us, being like, these people are eating dessert right now.
Yeah.
Honestly, it was so delicious and it was so worth it.
Yeah.
But all of our faces when we saw these ginormous parfait glasses full, I was like, yo, we getting like turned with this coffee
Literally,
right now.
But back into going into Prague, what you're talking about.
We've been staying at like hostels and hotels. Hostels are typically known for being, you know, like not really the best, I guess, living situations. Typically, if you are going like solo on trips, you could be rooming with 6 different strangers that you don't know. Our experience with these hostels were pretty amazing because we were rooming with people in our group.
Yeah.
So everything felt safe. Everything seemed to be clean for the most part. I think everything has been clean.
Yeah.
Up until going into this hotel that we had in Prague. And I was like, awesome. We've been staying at hostels. I'm so excited for a hotel. Like a hotel to a hostel is definitely an upgrade. I remember walking into the hotel and we are walking into the room, like trying to find our room. The first thing we see is all of the cleaners kind of like with a bunch of towels and like bed sheets all on the floor that we are walking on, and they're folding them up. And I was like, oh, like those clean sheets, because those are on the dirty floor that we were about to go sleep on. Like that was my first impression. And I was like, ooh, okay. And then I remember we get into our room and we were like neighbors with obviously with the people in our group. One of the guys that were next door, I think like in passing, he was bringing back towels or something, or he was telling the ladies out front, he was like needing new towels because apparently there was blood on his sheets or his towels. And that was my first impression. I was like, I will not be using a towel here.
Yes.
We get into our room with the 4 of us and we have a whole video that I'm so excited to either put up on the screen or you gotta see it on our Insta stories. We did a little room tour.
Yes.
It was the smallest situation room for the 4 of us. We had all 4 beds were touching each other.
They weren't even like twin size beds. Like it was like 2 feet by however tall, you know, like 2 feet by 6 feet.
Like for a child, literally. And the mattresses were like
an inch
like thick.
Yeah.
And I remember it being so hard. I remember somebody went to go take a shower and all of a sudden we hear them scream and the shower head is pointing at the other side of the bathroom, not even in the shower. It's like pointing to where the sink's at, spraying the wall. The shower head was broken and the bathroom door was ripped off, like broken. The mini fridge door was broken.
Also, it was so hot when we were in Prague, and literally the mini fridge was like warmer than the outside air, and it was not okay.
And I fully understand that, you know, with good experiences you gotta have some bad ones. And to be honest, I feel like this whole experience made Prague rememberable. Like I couldn't think of anything else that happened in that city besides our lovely hotel experience. That was just our whole intro to Prague. And I was like, I cannot wait to take me to the next city.
We did see some beautiful buildings. We did like the main little town of Prague. I don't know if they're having like a festival. That was something.
First of all, like when the clock strikes a certain time, their like clock tower would come out as if it was like It's a Small World, and these little like figurines would come out out and start singing and like doing instruments. And I was like, this is like a scary scene you would see in like a show. Like I was just imagining it as Shrek and Donkey watching the little like performance of those animatronics, and then it blows up.
Yeah.
That's what I was like, ooh, like I was just getting ready for a show.
Yeah. And during that time, we saw some wild things. There were people, I hope they were people, dressed up as like fish, literal fish, like fish heads, life-size fish heads, fish outfit. It was crazy, and they were just walking around.
You know, there's like street vendors, people that are saying free massage, free massage,
free massage. No, literally. We were like, what does mean?
And I was like, I don't want a massage nor a free one.
Nor
But what I will say is there was one thing good that came out of Prague. So being American, we have some things that aren't served around the world. One of them being our lovely ranch dressing. When you want to get pizza or french fries or chicken tenders or fish and chips, you love dipping that into some ranch dressing. In Europe, you can't find that anywhere.
Yeah.
We obviously like knew that was a thing, but we still, everywhere we went, we'd be like, do you have ranch dressing? And they're like, oh no, like we don't have that here, which is like, okay, like obviously you're never gonna know unless you ask. We were always respectful. We're never gonna get mad or like complain about it.
I think also like the first time someone asked for ranch, they were like, what is that? They had no idea what we were talking about. We were like, ranch.
And like this was obviously a stepping stone because we don't know, like we didn't know anything. Like we were obviously learning. Now we're knowledgeable. Now we know we're never gonna ask for an almond milk latte. So we did end up going to a restaurant that was very familiar. It's actually a restaurant I've never been to before. You guys may have heard of it. It's called Hard Rock Cafe.
They have one in like any major city.
Literally every major city we went to, they had a Hard Rock Cafe. And we were like, you know what? We're missing home a little bit. We got to get some American food. Like, we're ready for this. So yeah, we pretty much go in there. I don't really remember what we ordered.
We were just watching videos, and on Indiana's vlog, she like goes down to the food that she ordered, and I was like, you ordered a turkey club with bacon on it? I was like, that is the most wild thing I've ever seen, and I do not remember that.
I was shocked. I have not had turkey in a couple of years.
Yeah.
That is just interesting how like things change. We obviously have been turned down at every other restaurant, and we were like, we have a silly little question. Do you have ranch by any chance? And the waitress looks at us. She's like, oh, you mean American sauce?
Yes, that's what it is.
Yeah. I would love to see this American sauce that you're talking about.
We were like, American sauce? We were like, sure.
Yeah.
We're like, we'll try that.
Give me the American sauce, okay? She comes up. She gives us this little ramekin with some white sauce in there. And I was like, okay, you try it first.
And I tried it. And I was like, that right there is some American sauce. American sauce is what we're calling it from now on.
Oh, yeah. So if you are wanting to just get your little ranch kick in, you got to go find a Hard Rock Cafe.
And also, I have to say, if you are addicted to some Cool Ranch Doritos, you cannot find Cool Ranch Doritos there, but you can find American flavored Doritos.
It's called Cool American.
Yeah, Cool American. The only other thing that we did was we went to a medieval show. That was pretty cool. It was like a 3-course dinner, something like that. I do remember we put in our preference if we like fish, if we're vegetarian, all that. I think they only gave those two options of vegetarian or fish. Mm-hmm. And I think I went with the vegetarian one because I'm not big on fish. But the people that got the fish got an entire fish with a head, with the tail, with the fins, with the bones, with, I don't know if there was organs inside of it, but the entire fish is what they got.
That is so funny. I remember seeing the eyeballs in the fish. And I was like, how can you eat something that's staring back at you?
Literally. Yeah. We had like a lot of different transportations. We either took buses places, like it would be like a 4-hour bus ride. We would take planes, trains. I think that those are all the transportations.
Yeah. And I do think like the bus rides were pretty fun to actually see the countryside and see the parts of the different countries that you wouldn't see if you're flying over it.
For the longer bus rides, which I guess for all the bus rides, but we would make our stops to go to the bathroom and everything. But for this bus ride from Prague to Munich, we stopped at this little like bus stop cafeteria kind of thing. And I think about this all the time. Like it was just so cool. And I think that we stopped at like a few different ones also throughout the trip. But this one, maybe just because I have a video of it, it was like a cafeteria style place. And I got a bowl of like marinated mushrooms. I got a bowl of sun-dried tomatoes, and I got a bowl of pasta. And like it's just on like a cafeteria tray, and you just go up and pay. And then we ate our lunch and we got back on the road.
Another thing that Munich, Germany is known for is their pretzels.
And beer.
Oh, and beer.
Yeah, you know.
We're not beer drinkers.
Yeah, it goes hand in hand.
That
But
is
we
true.
did go to, I don't know what you call, like a beer garden kind of thing,
Yeah.
or like, I forget what it was called. But I do remember hearing that the beer in Germany is served warm. Or not warm, but I think it's more like room temperature.
Oh.
And that kind of throws people off. But yes, pretzels.
We love our soft pretzels.
Yes. I would say a salted soft pretzel is like my top 3, honestly,
That's
food.
crazy.
Like, I love pretzels. This one here, it was probably sitting there for 5 years.
I remember Teddie saying it was the worst pretzel she's ever had.
And they were like double the size of our face.
Yeah.
It was insane. We posted pictures with them. We pretty much got them as a prop.
I do remember that when our tour guide was showing us around the town, telling us where the beer gardens are, he was like, everybody be careful of this restaurant right here to the right. He was like, I used to not mention it to people, but now since I do have a lot of Americans that I am advertising towards, like I gotta let everybody know, you do your own thing. He says this restaurant right here does serve horse meat. Everyone has their superstitions. I do think it is a thing for Americans that you're not supposed to eat horse meat. I mean, obviously you can obey whatever rules you want, but apparently they had a story that they didn't tell a few people, and they ate the horse meat and they were horrified.
Yeah.
But I was like, I've never even heard of that, eating horse
Yeah.
meat. I was like, okay, I will not be going there.
We do have another story about horse meat, but that'll come up later.
Okay, so within Munich, one of the excursions that I did do a pass on, I was like, I'm just gonna, I guess it is very knowledgeable to go see some of these things, but I was thinking about how I didn't want to, I don't know, it's very like strong with emotions and
Yeah, it's very like dark.
yeah. And I feel like it was something that I did want to skip at least. I did go to the Anne Frank house in Amsterdam. We didn't even mention that.
Oh, yeah.
We went to the Anne Frank house. And I thought that already was a lot. I was like, it was a really cool experience. The idea of literally having to just climb up all those stairs to get all the way like to the top.
And it showed like the rooms that she hid in and everything.
Oh my God. Yeah, like it literally was so knowledgeable and so interesting, so cool to see. But yeah, so I was like, I'm gonna pass on this little excursion, but Teddie did go. If you want to share your experience.
Yeah, I did go. My mom honestly forced me to go. She's like, you have to go. But I am German and Jewish. So like that's like the whole like Holocaust situation.
Yeah.
I'm gonna sound so like
We are
I know
honestly
nothing about
not as
anything.
knowledgeable,
Yeah.
but this is just our experience. So
yeah, so I am German and Jewish. So my mom really wanted me to go. I went to I don't know how it's pronounced, but it's like Dachau or Dachau, something like that. But I did go to a concentration camp. And yeah, it was pretty dark. It was honestly not cool to see, but I was like, whoa, like it is crazy. I saw like, I don't know. I don't really want to get too dark. But,
yeah.
but I did see like trenches, and there is a tour guide, and they kind of talk about like what everything was for. We walked through all these buildings that like, one thing that I like really remember is they're like, this building here was where they took the prisoners to go shower, but instead of the shower, they thought they were going to shower, but the shower heads that looked like shower heads actually just put out gas, and then it just killed them all.
That is so crazy.
Yeah. And so all the buildings are there, the like mass graves and everything. But yeah, so I did that. Don't want to get too dark on that. But yeah, it was pretty crazy.
Yeah, and while that was all happening, I'm so sorry, switching it up. I'm so sorry.
And while that was happening, Indiana was having a great time.
No, but yeah. I which is also very interesting. It's like I was with Teddie the entire whole trip, and so this was the first time we like separated, and I was hanging out with a few other people who didn't go on this excursion, and we didn't really know what to do. We kind of, I think we talked around, we asked our tour guide like things that we could do. One of the things is that they have this little surf situation in Munich. Like they don't have an actual ocean with waves that people surf at. One way that they can surf is there's like this river jetty, and it had a very strong current, but it was really cool seeing people jump into the water on their surfboards and actually like surf, and it's nonstop.
It looked really cool though. It looked like a lot more fun than what I did. When we came home from the Dachau tour thing, the skies were literally dark gray black, and there was a tornado warning, and I was like, there is no way I am in Germany and I'm going to get my tornado I've always wanted to see. And you know what? I did not get my tornado I've always wanted to see.
Teddie was like a little child with her head sticking out of the window. We had the window door wide open and water is raining into our room.
I'm like, look at that one. Look at that cloud. Do you hear that thunder?
And she's like filming everything, waiting for like the lightning and the thunder.
And it never came. So on the way to Switzerland, which is our next stop, we stopped at the
Neuschwanstein Castle.
See, if I tried to say that, it would be the Neuschwanstein Castle.
Yes, and this was one of the stops I was also excited for. If you don't know what this castle is, it is pretty much an inspiration for what the story of Sleeping Beauty is from. All the tales and the stories that we've heard of Sleeping Beauty, this is the real life Sleeping Beauty castle, and I was very excited to see it in person. I did bring my Sleeping Beauty Mickey ears literally for a picture, which is so funny. Honestly,
so quirky of you.
And also, if you are a fan of Disney, if you have been on Soaring Over the World, one of the locations that you fly by is this castle, and I think it's so cool. Every time I go on this ride now, it's honestly so cool in general how a lot of the places we pass by are places we've been to, but when I see the castle, you can see a little bridge on the far right side, and we've been on both those, like the castle and the bridge, and I'm like, that's just so cool to see that from a bird's eye view, like coming in, and I don't know, I just love it. Every time I'm on that ride, I'm always like, oh, like it's so cool that we've been there.
We were there.
Yeah.
Also, that little bridge, we went on that little bridge, and it is so scary. It's so wobbly, and there's probably like 100 people on it.
Yeah.
And we were like, is this gonna break right now? But we did get our picture with the little castle.
When we did arrive to Switzerland, we were staying in Engelberg. One of the excursions that we were both extremely excited for, I feel like this was probably my most excited excursion that we went on, was to go on top of the Swiss Alps. And this is basically the top of the highest point of the mountain where the snow is snowing, everything is white, it's like cloudy and foggy, you're above the whole world basically, like it's crazy. So to get up to the Swiss Alps, you gotta ride the cable cars. But yeah, so we finally made it to the top of the Swiss Alps, and it was freezing.
Yes. And I don't think we were prepared at all.
We were not prepared. It was so cold. We go outside, and this was one of the like my most like favorite experiences too, is that it was so freezing. It was snowing.
Yeah.
And I've never seen snow fall before. This was my first time.
Yeah.
We were literally taking photos in the snow. We were throwing the snow around. And with how cold it was, my little fingers were literally like red and frozen. So we decided to make a little quick trip to the gift shop. And we bought some things.
Yeah, some things that we have never seen since.
Yeah. I had to buy some mittens for my cold little frozen fingers. And mittens, they typically go for like, honestly, like $5. Like at Walmart. $5 mittens, like little gloves. I paid $90 for mittens.
Yeah, see, I don't think I bought mittens. But you know what I did buy, which I thought you bought also?
I didn't. I bought only mittens.
Okay. I bought a zip up jacket. And you know, I do not remember how much it was, but I do remember I was like, this is the most ridiculous. Like, I think it was like $150. And I was going to wear it today just to show like I paid $150 for this.
Oh, you still have your jacket? I don't even have my
Maybe I don't. I think it's in my closet, like in the very, very back far side.
Funny.
But it's just like a gray, just zip up jacket with a hood. I think in my head, I was like, when am I ever going to wear mittens again? I can get a jacket that I will wear again, which I haven't, that I can put my hands into, you know? So I bought it. That should have been on our things we regret buying.
So good. But honestly, I needed it. If I wanted to play in the snow, I needed mittens.
Yeah.
And you know, they are racking up those prices because they know these people need it.
Yeah.
They can charge as much as they want because they need it.
Also, I do remember that Switzerland was the most expensive place with like everything that we bought. Also in Switzerland, I do remember we had a night where we went to dinner and we got this like beer cheese. Do you remember that?
I remember. I was so excited. They were like, we're going to have a fondue party.
Yeah.
We love cheese.
Yeah.
And we were like, oh yeah, like you're gonna dip some, I don't even know what we're gonna dip in there.
Like
but
bread into it or
bread.
something.
I was literally gonna say cheese. We're gonna dip some cheese into cheese, yeah.
That too.
But I was so excited. And I remember we all had to pay for it. Like he was like, do you guys want a fondue party? Yes, we do. We all had to pay for our meal. Obviously, we are in very authentic Swiss Alps. And when they say beer battered cheese, they legitly mean beer in their cheese.
Yeah.
And it
Like, you could
tasted
taste
like beer.
But then after that, we did go to a little bar, I guess. I wouldn't really call it a club, but we went to a little bar and it was like a downstairs place. You remember that?
I do
We
remember.
walked in and we went down this like spiral staircase, and then I do remember taking shots.
That's so funny.
Something I have to say about this trip is that when you're away, you know, I mean, Indiana had a boyfriend at the time. She's still with him. I was single. A lot of these people, everyone I would say was single. And when you're away for this long, you know, and you're only spending time, there was 3 guys on the trip. One was married with his wife on the trip. One was there with his sister and he was kind of seeing another girl on the trip, and one was gay. And then the 4th one was our tour director. So, you know, we're all kind of like thirsting over him. We're like, okay, like maybe something can happen with our tour director. Like, I wasn't thinking that, but you know, like when you're only seeing one guy for like a month, like consistently, you're like, okay, is he my only choice?
Yeah. Honestly, it's like the Bachelorette. Like
No,
all
literally.
these girls are feeding over our tour guide.
And I just remember that night was the night that we were like, whoa. Like he was dancing with these girls. These girls were all over him. And I was like, this is wild. I was like, I'm on The Bachelor right now, and I'm the girl sitting in the corner just staring at it, watching it all happen.
That is wild. But that is
like,
so funny.
And it's not like I even, like, he was definitely like cute and everything, but it's
Yeah.
not like I was like, oh, I want to hook up with this guy. It was just like at one point you're just like, okay, well, like, what guy can I find now, you know? And we're all like, there's literally 40 girls on this trip, and we're all trying to go for this one guy. But I do remember that night we found out some stuff. We were like, okay, this girl's in love with him.
Yeah.
This girl's fighting her to get to him.
Yeah. And with all respect, nothing, there was never rumors
Yeah.
of our tour guide ever doing anything.
Yeah.
It was obviously all these girls having all their fantasies, and
Yeah.
it was entertaining.
Yeah.
It was entertaining
so
to watch.
funny.
Our next location that we were going to on this trip was Venice, Italy. But before heading over to Venice, one of the good parts about driving around the country is that we were able to stop into 3 other little cities before
Yeah.
we ended up in Venice. One of them being Lake Como, Italy. I thought that was so beautiful. It's literally a ginormous lake. We just got some like quick little gelato. That was our first time getting Italian gelato.
Yeah. I do remember taking out more money there. That is something I don't know if we talked about in the first episode. We were trying to figure this out, but I think that we came to the conclusion that we took out around $3,000 to $3,500.
Yeah. I think our whole trip rounded up to be about $10,000.
Definitely. Probably even more, because we did take out a lot of more money when we were there and all of that. But yeah, I just wanted to put that out there because I do remember stopping at the bank. Also, I'm sure you know this now, but I don't know if you knew this then. There was like a scene filmed for Star Wars in Lake Como.
It's like one of the most iconic scenes
Yeah.
of them like professing their love for each other.
Oh.
And it's so beautiful. And so a lot of people get married there. A lot of people
Yeah, I've been seeing
propose
that.
there. Oh, yeah. I wish we saw it or we walked to it.
Yeah. I didn't know anything about that. I still don't know anything about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, but Lake Como was so beautiful.
After that, we headed over to Verona, Italy, which is famous for the story behind Romeo and Juliet. We did walk by Juliet's little balcony that she says the line Romeo, oh, Romeo to. They had a bunch of little like activities, like you could write a letter to Juliet and mail it, put it in a little mailbox.
There was like a gum wall. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Like you were supposed to chew gum and like put it on the wall.
Yeah, it was really cute. It was like a city full of love. And finally made our way to our destination, which was Venice, Italy.
Yes, and this place was just beautiful.
It is a city of all water and canals.
We didn't stay on the island of Venice, but we stayed somewhat near it, and then we would take like a bus to it and we would walk over the big bridge.
One of the popular excursions and activities that one must do, it is literally mandatory, is ride on the gondolas. And that is an experience.
It was really fun, but it was scary. It was wobbly. Yes. I was like, I have my camera with me and I'm going down with my camera with all of my belongings, and I was terrified.
They seat you in a certain way for like the weight distribution and stuff. And I remember, I think I asked somebody, I don't know if it was this past time when I went or that time, but I was like, has anybody ever fell in? And they're like, it happens sometimes.
Whoa.
But you do not want to fall in that dirty water.
Yeah.
It is like actually filthy.
I do remember though, because we kind of started like out kind of like in the water where the boats would come. And I think that's when we took that little boat ride and we pulled up. But we started on the gondola out in like rapid water. That's how it felt when I got in the boat in the little gondola. I was like, this water around me is like moving.
Yeah.
And then we finally got into the canals and I was like, okay, maybe we will survive.
It was honestly fun. It's something you definitely have to do. We did it with an excursion, but when I recently went with my family, they have like certain locations in the area that you can just walk up to and you ask how much and you give them cash.
Oh.
And so you don't have to really prepare it. You don't have to reserve it or anything. It's very easy to do if anyone is wanting to do that.
So another really fun thing that we did in Italy or in Venice, but you could do it anywhere in Italy because I feel like it's very wine oriented. We went to a vineyard and we did a tour around this entire vineyard. They talked about how their wine was made, and then we did a wine tasting, and that was fun.
Yes.
We got crunk.
But yeah, we had like an authentic Italian dinner. We were given different glasses of wine. It was 5 in total of wine, and we learned which ones we liked and did not like.
Yeah, the sweet Moscato. Nothing that actually tastes like wine.
Yeah, the sweet Moscato was definitely my favorite. One little fun thing that we loved is that our roommate is a wine enthusiast. And when we would take a sip of these wine glasses and I would go, ewy, she'd be like, here, fill me up. And we just kept giving her our glasses, dude. She was drinking like 3 times the amount that she was getting because we were like, we don't want this. You can have it.
So I have one last thing to say about Venice, which I am shocked that you forgot about this. But we had just like a core, or I guess I had a core memory that I would never forget. As we were in Venice, we were leaving where we were staying, our hotel. And we're waiting at a bus stop, and it is June. And as you know, in June, the pre-sale for Coachella happens. Did you not think I was going to say
No, I have a different story to bring up, but okay.
So pre-sale happens, and me and Indiana are both on our phones, and we are both in the waiting room waiting to get our pre-sale Coachella tickets, not knowing who's going to be on the lineup. And this was we bought it in 2019 for 2020 and we bought our tickets. We're so excited. We're on the bus and we're like, woo, we bought our Coachella tickets. We're going to Coachella next year.
We were so excited.
Yeah. And we actually ended up using our Coachella tickets in 2022. Yeah, because they canceled Coachella 2020 2021 and then they brought it back 2022.
Wow.
So our tickets that we bought in 2019 we used for 2022.
Thankfully. And that was the last Coachella we've been to.
Yeah.
Pending for this year.
Rightfully so. So what's your story?
My story. Okay, buckle in. We had a long night walking around. So tired. We are far away from our hotel room. I think we went out and got dinner somewhere on our own. We weren't with the group at all. It was just the three of us. I don't think we could really like held down a taxi or get somebody to drive us. We had different scenarios. I think we were trying an Uber. We just wanted to get home. We were so tired. It was so late. And this was probably, I would say at least an hour of us trying to get home. We didn't want to take the bus. We were like, no, like we'll just buy a taxi. Like we just want to drive and get home as fast as we can. We finally find a bus stop and we're sitting. Just imagine us sitting literally at the bench. Finally, after like an hour of us sitting at this bus stop, see a bus coming, and it's like the ray of sunshine of hope. And we're like, thank goodness, like we are gonna make it home. The bus comes up, and when I tell you, it is packed like sardines in there. People's faces and bodies are pushed up against the windows. Their hands are up in the air. They are smushed against the windows. The doors can't even open because the people, their bodies are pushed up against the windows, and the bus stops in front of us. We see our tour guide and a few other people with their faces literally licking the glass, smushed up against the glass, and the bus just keeps on going, and we're just sitting there waving them goodbye.
That was in Venice?
That was in Venice.
I do remember walking around and we were trying to find any way to get home.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
And it was literally us sitting there for an hour being like, please, praying for this bus to come. And then it finally comes and we can't even get in.
Wow. I forgot about that.
But that was literally the funniest thing. It's literally like a movie scene.
Yeah.
It's like you finally being like, I see the end.
Yeah.
And then especially with us being separated from our group through this whole city, and seeing our group members like smushed up against the bus, like that was the funniest thing.
Yeah. And
ever.
Also with us knowing how buses work now after London,
Uh-huh.
like we literally knew that it was like this bus that was coming at this time, this bus number.
Mm-hmm.
We're like, okay, finally it's here. And I think it was probably like every like 20 minutes or every 30 minutes, something like that.
Yeah.
It came around.
Now on to one of the most exciting parts of our entire trip.
Yeah.
Florence.
I guess to start off Florence, we got there, we did our little tour, we were showed around the town and everything. I feel like we could have either gone with the group or gone off on our own. And I was like, we are here in Florence, this is our first day, and I think it was like maybe like 30 minutes until the store closed.
Mm-hmm.
When I booked this trip, I don't know why I had this obsession, which like I don't regret it at all, but I had this obsession with this one Gucci bag. And I was like, I am going to Europe. I'm going to Italy where these bags are made. And I'm going to buy this Gucci bag with every last penny in my savings. But, you know, I was like, I worked hard for this. Let me get something that I can keep as a souvenir and something that I can use. And like, it's not like technically like a souvenir kind of thing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So we went to the Gucci store, and there I was in the Gucci store crying, buying my dream Gucci bag. I made a whole YouTube video on it,
Uh-huh.
but I was literally like crying. And once we got out of the store, I was like, can I just like cry for a second? I was like, can I just let it out? It's literally in Indiana's video, and it's so funny. And I was like, okay, I'm okay.
But even the whole experience of us even being in the store, I feel like we haven't really like been in any luxury stores before, so we already were like, this is so cool, just even seeing the bags up in person and actually being able to feel them and touch them. And when Teddie gave them their money, you had to like sign your name and your address, and in the video she was like, I was like shaking, like signing it. It was so,
I was just so nervous because one, I'm handing over a lot of money, which I got it there also because it was discounted.
Mm-hmm.
Not discounted, but because it's made there, it's cheaper. Not by much, but
yeah, I mean,
but
a couple $100.
I think it was like $500 or something like that. But I was shaken, and I was like, I don't know what my name is. I don't know what my address is.
The famous line in my video is, she was like, yo, it said Mr., Mrs., and Miss. I didn't know what to do. Like, she was literally freaking out, and I'm like, that is so funny.
I was like, oh, who am I? Who am I today?
We did do a little celebratory dinner. We all got glasses of wine, even though we're not that much of a wine drinkers.
Yeah, I feel like Anna had to have like convinced us.
Yeah.
She was probably like, let's get a bottle. And we were probably like, yeah, let's get a bottle.
One of my most favorite memories of both of Florence and of the like whole trip in general is this famous sunset lookout spot. If you are going to Florence, it is known for being the spot that every single night the whole town people will go to this lookout, and you kind of just like watch the sunset. There's street performers playing music. There's like vendors selling foods and drinks, and it's kind of like a good hangout. And it's very, I don't know, it just was very like beautiful, sentimental. It was a really great night. This place is called the Piazza of Michelangelo. If you are wanting to go, I would very much recommend it.
And since Florence is, not that it's small, but it's like you can walk anywhere you want to go.
Yeah, like literally walking to this lookout spot was only 20 minutes and back. And it's a fun, like scenic little route, which I think everybody should go enjoy if you are going to be in the city.
But after the sunset, you know what happened after the sunset? There was some live music that was playing. And someone was playing Someone Like You by Adele. And we were just all like running around. There was probably like 15 of us girls, or maybe 10 to 15 of us. We were just like on top of the world, living life, singing to each other. And then we were like in a huddle, like with our arms around each other. I don't know what we were on.
I don't know, dude.
We were on a high of life.
Yeah, but it was so like cute and very much like girlhood, like very precious. And I don't know, I loved it.
Yeah. And then after that, we did walk down the hill. And we went to a fun little karaoke bar, which was called...
It's called the Red Garter. And this was a recommendation given to us from one of our fellow friends who studied abroad in Florence. He was like, you definitely have to go here. And being in a foreign country, you don't really have many experiences of back home, like in America. And I will say that this was one of the places that I was like, this is an American like place. Like it was fully singing American music, like pop music that you hear on the radio. It is so crowded, full of people that I believe are obviously people from all over the world, but it seemed like all the Americans knew to come here. Yeah. And it was fun.
I do remember we got like fishbowl drinks, like they were huge, or like a pitcher or something like that.
We shared like a big glass of a margarita or something, and then you could sign up to go on stage, and we went up and like performed. We sang a few songs.
I didn't go with you on that one because I don't know that song, but I feel like I did go. I don't remember what song it was, but I did go up for one of them.
But we actually got into the groove this time. But this karaoke bar, I will say, was like, it was just happening. There were so many people. It was so fun. One of the things that we did do in our free time that I was very excited for is that Florence obviously makes Gucci. And so they have a Gucci museum that's kind of set in the middle of the city. We were like, we gotta go see this.
It was like the day after I got my bag. I'm like, they're gonna see that I have Gucci and they're gonna let us in.
It was literally a museum full of a bunch of Gucci products. I don't even know if they're on the walls for reasons, like if they were worn by people or if it was just decorated.
I feel like it was probably just, I don't know, maybe it's just decorated or it was just old pieces and
like archived pieces. But it was really cool. I loved how it was a very funky decor, like literally everything from the furniture to the walls to like trimmings on the corners, like everything was so decorated and so beautiful. Everything Gucci. They do have a fun little gift shop that you can also buy stuff from.
They had like some small little trinkets. Like they had I did get a little pack of matches and it had like a little cat on it. I do remember I got that for my sister, and I don't think that it was like too expensive. Like it was probably like $20 for it, but I was like, it's fine. And then I also got like a little notebook that I've never used. It's still in the packaging, but it's like honestly really cute.
And another fun little fact of our roommate that we love, the group did call her Bougie Anna, and that is because she is a woman of taste. And and as somebody who loves luxury things, she did buy, and I was shocked. I was like, we don't see people in our everyday life being like, oh, I'll take one of those. I'll take one of those. Like, honestly, slay. Like, I thought it was so sick. We were looking through the clothing items, and these clothing pieces are fairly pretty expensive.
Like almost the same price as my bag.
Like, I was honestly so afraid to touch them, let alone try them on. And slay for her. She was like, I'll take that in a size, like, whatever. I'll take that in a size, whatever. Put them in the fitting room. She was trying these pieces on, and I was like, honestly, that's so cool. Like, to be able to do that. But she did buy, I think it was like a $900 sweatshirt. And I was like, that is so freaking cool. And so we were sitting around while they were backing it up, and they were bringing us all like champagne and glasses and waters. And I'm like, that's one little luxury you get when you buy luxury products.
That is true. That's like the one cool thing. And then you go home and you're like, I just spent that much money. So our next stop was Cinque Terre. however you say it. We called it Kinky Terra while
Yeah.
we were there. But that place is so beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
I believe Cinque Terre kind of makes up like the whole coast of that area.
Mm-hmm.
But we went to 3 stops.
I also want to say that Cinque Terre, if you don't know, is the name of 5 towns, and that is why it's called Cinque, which is like 5 in Italy. So there's 5 little stops in this area that are all so beautiful. They all have their own things that they're known for. And so we went to 3 of these stops. We went to Monarola, which is the famous colorful buildings on the cliffside. So beautiful. It is the perfect picture spot. It's probably one of the most popular ones if you look up Italy or Cinque Terre on like Instagram or something, like locations. And so when we went here, we did little like cliff jumping, swam in the water a little bit. Very like quick. Each town we went for like about an hour or so. The next town we went to, it was Vernazza, which is known for their pesto pasta.
Yes. It's called, I believe it's like called Trophy alla Pesto. The last time I went to Trader Joe's, I did see that they have trophy pasta.
Oh.
Yeah, but it is so good. But I do remember we got it like 3 meals in a row.
Like it was the best thing. It was
Yeah.
so delicious.
Yeah.
And Vernazza is the inspiration from the movie Luca. If you have watched it, it's pretty much like a little beach town, but the way that it's set up is mirrored from how the town looks in Luca, the Disney film. And so I just think it's a little fun fact that's super cute. And the next town that we went to is Monterosso, which is the famous beach side in Italy. You have the scenery of all the beach chairs lined up. The blue chairs, blue umbrellas lined up on the side of the beach. And it is one of the most beautiful like sceneries and very just like peaceful like beach scene, I guess.
Yeah, and the water is just so blue and so warm, and that place I think about all the time.
And we were lucky enough to actually rent out beach chairs.
Yeah.
You show up. I honestly don't even know if you can rent them beforehand, but from our experience, you show up and then you just go to the people and you pay for the chairs and you have them for the day.
Yeah.
But with my last experience, it was a sunny day and summer and there were no chairs available. So you gotta, I guess, go at your own risk. Hope that there's some availabilities. Maybe go super early in the morning if you want a guaranteed chair spot.
And you could take a train from Florence to the first town, and then there is a train that goes all along those 5 cities, and you could buy a train ticket.
Yeah.
That you can go to all 5 stops.
Yeah, each stop in between like each of the 5 towns are, I think, actually like 2 minutes away from each other. They're so quick, so fast. Tickets are so cheap. Make sure you buy those tickets because some people like to sneak on and, you know, try to get a free ticket. Some people thought that it would be okay, and some people got fined $50 for not buying those tickets.
Yeah, but that's a different story that we could talk about for our other Europe trip.
But yeah, I guess that was pretty much it for Cinque Terre. It was very beautiful, very magical. I definitely recommend. And also, if you have that extra coin, you should definitely stay in those 5 towns.
Yes.
Because those cliffside buildings are beautiful.
Yes. And I know that we kind of talked about wanting to stay in those before, but next time we have to.
Yeah. Next time. Our next location on our trip is Rome, Italy.
Roma.
And Rome is known for a bunch of tourist spots, these being the Spanish Steps, the Trevi Fountain, the Colosseum, the Roman Forum, and the Vatican.
The Vatican.
The Vatican.
We don't even have to talk about it.
Which I will say, with our experience, I left the Vatican, I think throughout the entire trip, I left the Vatican saying, I vow to this day I will never go back ever again.
Yes.
I keep lying to myself. I went back to Italy this past summer with my parents.
I forgot about that.
And the one thing my mother wanted to do was go to the Vatican. And I was like, I vowed to Teddie I would never go again. And I will say, I think after our experience, I don't think they ever want to go again.
Yes. Okay, I have something that I just need to ask you. The Vatican, is that like where we saw the Pope and then we went and got those bracelets after?
Yes.
Okay.
So the Vatican is its own little country, its own little like situation where the Pope lives. And that is why they have different rules than other countries. One of these rules being that women have to cover their knees and their shoulders. It was honestly hot. 90 to 100 degrees on the day that we did go. So let's put that into factor that we were already dripping.
I don't even remember what I wore. I don't think there's any pictures of it.
I just remember it was literally a horrible day.
Yeah.
Starting from our lunch meal that we did talk about in the last episode to just dripping and wanting to go lay in bed.
And if you didn't hear last episode, just very briefly, we went to a little restaurant that we got some pasta. There was a vegetarian option and there was a carbonara option, I believe it was. Indiana got the vegetarian, I got carbonara, and smelt and tasted a little horsey. Nay.
We did preference this in, I don't know, one of the videos in our past podcasts, but basically, it smelled like horse, tasted like horse. I was running around with my dish in my hand, asking everybody to try it and asking them if it tasted like horse. And everybody was just concluding that we definitely had horse in our pasta. So we pretty much left our meals and went to the local Burger King around the corner.
Yes.
Had some like French fries and stuff like that to get us full and prepped and ready for the Vatican.
And that it did not.
Yeah. Basically, we were on a tour guide like we are for everything. And the Vatican tour takes us around the whole entire city of the Vatican. And it was probably like a couple hours long. And it was very just dreadful just walking in the heat. We're fully covered up, like honestly almost having a heat stroke. Also, like, we're not history people. We're not really much into that. So if you are into that, definitely go check it out.
But we will never again. Sorry, Indiana's mom, if you want to go see it again.
Other than seeing all the tourist spots, I did love the Trevi Fountain.
Yes.
I thought that was amazing. So beautiful. It gave us our little Lizzie McGuire moment, tossing the coin into the fountain, trying to find our Paolo?
I don't know. I don't remember that movie either.
And one thing that we did do as an excursion that we bought was a pasta making class.
Oh my gosh. I forgot about that.
That was super fun. And we actually got to make spaghetti from hand.
That was really fun. And then we all sat down as a family and ate dinner together.
Yeah, that was cute.
So something that I just remembered, which I have been thinking about and I've been trying to figure out where I was. I have these little visions and I'm like, was that a dream or was I actually somewhere and where was I? I just realized I was picturing myself walking up to that pasta making class. Before that, we went to that little market thing, like in the little center, and that's where we tried the limoncello.
Nothing comes to my brain, but okay.
Really? So there was a little market and they had like olive oil for sale. They had balsamic vinegar and I wanted to get some balsamic vinegar so bad to bring home because I love it. And they also had the limoncello, which is like the alcoholic, I don't know what it is, but the limoncello, it's like an alcoholic.
It's a lemon liqueur, basically.
Yeah. But we like took some shots there. We all tried it and then we went to the pasta making class. But the first memory I had was there was a little bar at the corner, kind of. We went in there, we had some drinks. There was a table right next to us and I think it was someone in our group. But we looked over and they threw up all over the table. Do you remember that?
No.
You don't remember that?
No, I don't want to remember that.
Did I dream all of this?
I do not remember. I don't even remember a bar. I don't remember us getting food.
It was like seemed kind of like an American bar also.
I don't remember.
Like, I feel like I remember seeing like anchors and like, I don't know. Maybe it was a dream I had. So one other thing I remember, or I made up, we went to another little bar club thing and there was a dress code.
Oh my gosh. I remember this.
And I feel like we weren't even there for a while. Like, I think we went like 20-30 minutes maybe, but we went as a group and I don't even really remember what the issue was. All of the girls got in fine.
Yeah, I do think with obviously different countries there's different types of like discrimination towards all different types of people. And one of the people in our group, love him so much, has long hair for being male. And I do think that the people, the bouncers you would call it, saw this man with long hair and was like, nope, you can't come in.
But he did get in somehow, didn't he?
Because they had to put his hair up in a bun and make it look like presentable,
Really?
I guess, quote unquote.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was that or if it was any other reason. That's what I came to conclude. But they wouldn't let him in. And I was like, that's crazy that we were in a group of like 43 people. How would you not let in one of our people?
Yeah. I think you went home early,
Yeah,
maybe.
I left that club. I will say, with us not having any experience of any clubs, this club was full of like 40-year-old men.
Yeah.
And
okay,
they
I do
were
remember that.
standing like hawks on the second floor, like watching all these girls dance on the floor. And I was like, this is disgusting. Like I was
Yeah.
getting the ick and I was like, I don't even want to have a good time. Like it just felt weird. And I was like, I'm going to leave.
Yeah. I remember I was Ubering home with Austin and Anna.
Mm-hmm.
And they're both from the other side of the country.
Like southern countries. So we
Yes.
have like Arkansas and then we have, I think, Louisiana.
Okay. It was somewhere over there.
Yeah.
But we're in this Uber and I'm so drunk and they are telling me about tornadoes. And Anna's like, I bake cookies and watch tornadoes from my window. And I'm like, that sounds like the life. And Austin's like, yeah, I had a tornado the other day. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, can I come and visit you guys? And then I just remember being so drunk coming home and we all came into our room and I think we just like sat and talked for like hours.
It is just so fun too, having people like all different parts of the country.
Yeah.
Just literally there was people with some southern accents.
Yeah.
And they're thinking we have accents.
Yeah.
They're like, you guys got the Cali accents. Like they're all sitting here with the deep southern accents, and it's just so fun.
Well, sorry I dragged on Rome for so long because it did not even deserve that.
Yeah, Rome, I will say, like, it is cool. It is a tourist spot, like if you are wanting to go to Italy. But I will say I think it is one of my least favorite cities.
Yeah.
Especially out of Italy. I feel like Florence is my absolute favorite. I love that so much. But we are heading on to the last leg of our trip, which is Greece. And with Greece, we did have to stop into Athens first. So basically you fly into Athens before you can go to the actual like tropical town cities,
Yeah,
I guess.
Islands,
You would say. And so Athens. My one memory that I had was we're being taken into the metro station. You know, you go underground, and typically throughout like every time we go see a new city, we have little like headphones, little walkie-talkies like in our ears while the tour guide is talking to us. And you know, you gotta kind of listen. Typically you want to listen. And I remember us going underground and our tour guide telling us in our ears, everybody put your phones away. Everybody, be very careful of all your belongings. Athens is one of the most pickpocketed places in the entire world. They're like, I am telling you all now, put all your stuff away. Be very aware. Zip up all your zippers. Like,
yeah, like
everything.
make sure you have your hands like on your bags if you have a bag. Like, make sure it's gone.
And so we get on to the actual like metro, like the bus or whatever you call it, the train. The doors open. We all get in. And then all of a sudden, as we're walking in, I remember like people pushing a little bit. And then right before the door is shut for us to take off, we see a man get off. And I remember thinking, I know like a couple of us were like, that's so weird. He got on with us and then got off like right away. Didn't even ride to one stop. And I was like, that's so weird. The door shut. We were taking off. And all of a sudden, one of the girls in our group goes, where's my phone? And that is exactly what this man did. He literally came in, swooped her phone that's hanging in the back of her pocket, and he takes off. And that phone is nowhere to ever be seen.
And the unfortunate thing about that was on her phone, she had one of those like wallet things that like was on the back of her phone. So her ID was stolen. Her cards were stolen. Like, oh.
Yeah, and the also unfortunate thing is she was the only person who was not wearing a headset in her ears. Like, everyone was like, did you not just listen to what he just told us? And she said she didn't have it in her ears. It does suck because when this scenario happens, it's like you just now lost all of your footage from this entire trip that we just went on. Like, it's so sad.
And it was like almost like we almost made it.
Be very careful if you are traveling through Athens because it is the most pick and pocket place in the world. I remember she called the police. She was talking to them. They literally just tell you there's nothing we can do.
Yeah.
So we took a huge ferry.
Literally huge.
Like, they were putting cars on there. They were putting everybody's luggage on there. It was ginormous. Honestly, like a cruise ship over to Naxos. And it was beautiful. It was a very fun, amazing experience. It was just like, yeah, a very tropical island. We did stay in the cutest little hotel.
Yeah.
It was kind of like we all had our own apartments. It was a whole like furnished like kitchenette, a refrigerator, like our beds, a couch, a little patio outside. It was so adorable, and a close enough walk to the local beach that we also got to go hang out at. There was a little pier that people would go and like jump off of. I was a little scared. I'm also not the best swimmer, I will admit. And I saw the edge of the pier like a mile away from shore.
Was so far.
And I was like, I cannot do that.
Yeah.
But Teddie did it.
I don't know how or why, but I did it.
I remember you coming back and you were like, I can't believe I swam like that whole place.
But the thing is, I jumped and I was like, okay, I jumped. And now I was like, okay, I have to make it all the way back. I had my GoPro. It's literally like a 7-minute long video of me like freaking out in the water. I'm like, like bringing my GoPro up, looking at myself. And I'm like, okay, let's see if there's any sharks down there, and putting it in there. And I was just so scared. I remember like swimming on my back because I was like, I couldn't breathe because I was so scared. And then there was like some high seaweed in there, and I was touching it. I was like, what's hitting my foot?
See, that just creeps me out, not like knowing what you're touching. But another little core memory that I have is I remember like all the group jumping off the pier, and the only couple of our group who was recently married or engaged, all of a sudden one of them noticed they were missing their ring on their finger.
I forgot about that.
Yes. And everyone, which is like so great. Our group was so amazing.
Yeah.
Everyone was literally getting goggles and like going to the deep depths of the ocean to find their wedding ring.
Not me, but yes.
But I remember I had a goggles. Like I bought a pair of goggles and they were like using them. I was like, yeah, like use it. Like you gotta find it. But I think they ended up finding it.
I think so.
Which is so crazy.
Yes. And one other thing from that pier, I do remember one of the girls, I think she was like trying to get out, but she stepped on a sea urchin.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
And she was taken to like the hospital.
Yeah.
One of my most favorited memories as well. I mean, I think there was like 3 things I was looking forward to. The Eiffel Tower, I was looking forward to the Swiss Alps, and I was looking forward to going on that boat cruise in Greece.
Yes.
This was the iconic cruise. Whenever you think about like going on a boat and jumping into the clearest blue water, this was it. Like it was so beautiful, so amazing. They took us to like different islands or different little like beaches around Greece, around Naxos, I guess. And these were like the clearest waters I've ever seen in my entire life.
So beautiful.
They got to park the boat in the middle of the ocean. We would jump off in the boat having like floaties. Like I had to use a pool noodle because I'm not going to tread water for that long. But it was so fun.
I was terrified of jumping off the boat, but I did it and I have it on video. And I feel like that was what made the trip. Because it was also our last stop and we were like, okay, we are ready to go home. We're ready to do this. But it was just so much fun.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it for Greece as well. Besides like obviously eating the Greek food, which I think Greek food is like one of my favorites.
Yes.
Having like falafels and pita and hummus and tzatziki and like everything.
Yes.
Love.
Okay, so I think it was the first place. It was this cute little restaurant right at the little beach right next to where we were staying. And I remember I got fish and chips, but I also ordered this thing called, I believe it was called saganaki. I don't know why I ordered it, if it like said what it was on the menu or something, but it's literally like deep fried cheese. I think that's what it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Like, and it wasn't like a mozzarella stick. There was no breading on it. It was literally just deep fried cheese. And it was so good. And I think you like squirt lemon on it. And literally everywhere else that we went to eat, I got that. It was so tasty.
Like I think out of all of the food places, even talking about Italy and stuff, I think Greece was my favorite food place to eat at.
Yeah.
Pretty much after Naxos, we went back to Athens to have our farewell dinner before heading back home on all of our flights. And this was honestly one of the most like saddest like dinners. Like it was sentimentally like happy, but like also like being like, oh, like after spending 35 days with all these people that we just met and pretty much lived with and have all these amazing once in a lifetime experiences with, we had to say goodbye honestly forever.
Yeah.
Like we could see them again.
We are in a group chat and like once a year they're like, let's do a trip somewhere. And then it just never happens.
Like it realistically is forever.
Yeah.
You know, and it's so sad. It was just amazing to be able to experience it with them.
Also, something about Greece is they have cats everywhere. So when we were in Athens, I just remember like walking through this town where there were also kind of like destroyed like pillars and stuff, and there was just cats everywhere just sleeping, different types of cats. It was so cute. And when we were in Naxos, our hotel had their own little cat. And if you know me, look at my shirt. If you know me, I am the crazy cat lady. I love cats so much that I might hug them or kiss them a little too much, especially when I shouldn't, you know? And this is a PSA to anyone out there who loves cats like me. When you go to Greece or just anywhere, you know, any wild cats, just don't kiss them. You might get a little sick.
Oh no, I didn't realize that.
You don't remember that?
I don't remember.
Long story short, I got a little sick after I had a little bit of, going to the bathroom like every few minutes. Traveling home was like the worst thing that has ever happened to me. And, I had this issue for about like 3 or 4 months.
That's crazy.
And my mom researched it and she was like, this cat literally gave you a disease.
So we shouldn't be like touching wild cats in general.
Yeah, but I think I was like actually like kissing it. Like I was like holding it. And I was like, you're so cute. I love you. I'm going to take you home.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Just wash your hands,
and your face and your lips and your mouth.
Yeah.
Pretty much to conclude our trip, we did have our huge farewell dinner. One of the groups of girls in the trip like decided to be a fun idea to do superlatives for everybody, which I was like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So I did write down what our superlatives were. Teddie's was most likely to become a celebrity photographer for cats. And
I mean,
yeah,
accurate.
Honestly, on brand. Also, when they were saying these superlatives, they were like announcing it and then everybody would guess like who it is.
Yeah.
And so when I heard that, I was like, that's Teddie.
Yeah.
Like we knew. Okay, for mine, which honestly, I will say, I was kind of like butthurt. I was like, what? Really? Now I'm like, that's accurate. They said most likely to post a question in the Facebook group 10 years from now. And like, yeah, I'm a curious person. I love asking questions. And I remember when we were getting ready for this trip, every question I had, I would post it in our Facebook group and I would be like, any question.
Yeah.
Like, do we need this type of money in this country? Do we need this for that? Like every question.
Like, that's what the Facebook group is for.
Yeah.
So.
Like I want to be prepared. So don't hate me for it.
Well, we're coming up on 5 years.
That's crazy.
So maybe message and say, is 5 years okay? Or do I have to wait 10 years?
In 10 years, I'm going to message a question. I'm so gonna do
You
that.
need to set like an alarm on your phone. I wonder if you can set one for like 5 years from now.
Oh my gosh, that's such a good idea. I will be doing that. If you are listening, I will be posting a question in the Facebook group chat. Let's just go in after our most amazing, once in a lifetime, wonderful, incredible experience that we have been looking forward to for that whole year, I guess.
Yeah.
Like leading up to. After spending 35 days away from home, all we wanted to do was make it home.
Yep.
To go into our own nice warm beds, to be comfortable, know what we're eating, know where we're sleeping,
know where we're
know where we're using the restroom. And we did have a layover in Paris from Athens to go home. I was like, slay, Paris. Like, I could stay here another day. That's what my mind was telling me. And boy, was I
manifesting that.
All Teddie wanted to do, obviously she was not feeling the best and she was like, I just need to go home, like we need to do this.
I was like, I need to get on this 12-hour flight and go home right now.
And so I'm trying to remember my train of thought. I remember we like boarded the plane, we were sitting on the plane, we were in the runway sitting on the plane for about like a few hours.
Yes. I just remember sitting forward with my head on like the screen and I was like, dear God, will I ever make it home? Or is this the end right now?
Yeah. Like, and I've never had like flight trouble experiences before. And so I was like, why are we on the runway? Like, come on. Like, why aren't we going?
Yeah.
After a while, they were like, this flight will not be taking off today. We're going to be pulling back in and everybody's got to get out and get your luggage and figure out what to do. That was the start of a horrible horrible experience.
Oh, horrible.
So that's exactly what we did. We got off the plane and we had to go find where our luggage was even going to be going to, like, what bag check or anything. And we finally find the destination. We see all the people that were on our flight with us. Not even exaggerating, I do believe us sitting there for hours.
I think it was 4 hours. I think that's what I remember.
It was a long time. It was a ginormous flight. It was probably one of the biggest planes that you could go on.
I do remember it was like 2 levels. I remember my dad was telling me something about that. Yeah.
And so there were so many people. Obviously, they had to take off everybody's luggage. And we're sitting by the baggage claim for hours, like waiting just to see an ounce of bags come out of this little thing, and no bags were coming out. Like, everybody was just waiting, and so, like, we knew our bags weren't out yet. And so after, like, probably 4 hours, we finally, like, the bags are finally coming out, and we're just waiting for ours to come out. And, like, that's like the horrible feeling is when, like, even when you finally arrive home and you're just waiting there, like, come on, like, please be my bag, like, the next one, please. And so so that was already horrible. We finally get our bags, like, after 4 hours later.
And then we have to go find the area that we have to go to reschedule our flight. And, you know, they tell us where to go. They say, go to this gate or something like that. And, you know, we go there and they say, no, you have to go to this gate. And then they say, no, you have to get on this train, go to the other side of the airport and do this. So we get on the train, we go over there, and it literally took us, do you remember where it took us?
I don't know, but it took us to one of the 3 terminals, and it was a whole thing. We literally had to put our luggage on. We're carrying, like, our carry-on bags, our 50-pound luggage. We're already so tired from wasting hours of unnecessary time at this airport. And it was just horrible. I remember, like, Teddie was, like, crying.
I was like calling my dad, and I was like, I don't know what to do. I was like sobbing my eyes out because I was just like, I need to get home.
And they weren't, like, obviously we are in Paris. Everyone mainly speaks French. I don't know if it was either we weren't understanding, they weren't understanding. We couldn't figure out where to go to reschedule our ticket.
So then we finally found it. And we were the last people in line. There was a long line. We were the last group, and I'm like, that's crazy we took this long. Yes. And I do remember, I think that was probably around like 5 or 6
p.m.
Yes, 5 or 6 p.m. And I do remember it didn't move for like an hour. I'm on the phone with my dad. He's on the phone with people trying to, like, book flights and stuff, and they're like, well, you can get a flight to Amsterdam, and then, but you don't want to stay in Amsterdam overnight, like all of this stuff. So my dad was like, just wait and see what they have to say. We finally get up there at midnight.
That is crazy.
At midnight. And I'm going back and forth to the bathroom, going to the pharmacy, asking for medicine. I'm like, I need some help.
And so what they do, obviously it's midnight, there's no more flights. They book us into a hotel for the night, and we're like, that's the least thing we wanted to do. And the worst thing was that it was a nearby hotel, like an airport hotel. So what do we got to do? We got to walk there after we've been lugging all of our luggage around the whole entire airport. So that's what we do. I remember that was the longest walk of our life. Finally, like, get settled into our hotel room. It was honestly nice for it being free. They gave us little meal vouchers for us to get free food for, like, the next day, which is really cool. And so next day, luckily we got right onto our flight, no problems, super easy, loved it. Finally flew home. I remember we also had a layover going home.
We get on the plane and, you know, we're taking off. And we like to watch, like, the little, like, the globe thing and seeing where you're flying to.
Like the flight tracker.
And, you know, we're just watching it. We're like, we're going home to LA, right? And we're kind of, like, looking around at other people's screen. And we're like, oh, it all says the same thing. And it showed that we were going to Miami.
That is crazy. And I remember being like, flight attendant, like, are we going home? Like,
And I remember, I don't know if we called the flight attendant over or if it's when they were doing, like, the snacks and stuff. And we were like, where's this flight going to? We were like, this is going to LA, right? And I remember she was kind of like, yeah, why? Like, we were like crazy. And we were like, oh, just like our screen says that, like, we're going to Florida. And, like, I need to go home because I had, like, the worst 24 hours of my life.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh, that's weird. And I remember she was like, oh, that's weird. And she like walked away really quick. And she came back. She was like, yeah, I don't know why it says that, but yes, we are going to, like, she had to double check and see.
That is crazy. Like,
I'm like getting so much anxiety, like, thinking about it.
Imagine being on a flight and it's like, excuse me, where are we going?
Yeah.
Like, not even knowing.
She was probably like, where are we going? She's like, I don't know. I do this every day.
Yeah. I will say, after this horrific experience, there is a website that I found out about that if you do have a troubled flight in Europe, you can get compensated. We did walk home with $800 each.
That was $800 each?
Maybe it was $600, but it was insane. $600 each. And that was the most worth it $600 that's ever happened.
No,
to me.
honestly, I would go through that all again to get that.
Yeah. That was our whole Europe experience for our very first time.
You can have one just like it too.
Like we said in the last week's episode, that since we are knowledgeable world travelers, we do have our list of all of our recommendations, places we stayed at, places we've eaten at, things to do. If you have any questions, if you are wanting to travel to these places, feel free to message us, ask for any recs, and we can give them to you.
Well, thank you for following us along on our Europe journey, and hopefully you followed along.
Yeah.
I know it's a lot, but it was honestly the best 35 days of our lives. And we always talk about wanting to do another one, but we don't want to have such high expectations and have it go down. But maybe we will do another one. Or EF Ultimate Break, if you're listening. Maybe you want to sponsor us to go on a trip so we can make another video.
Ooh, yeah.
Or just, I don't know. Hey, EF Ultimate Break.
I'm a photographer. I'm a content creator.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you all for watching. We really appreciate all of the views, all of the likes and comments and everything. We hope we can keep you all interested in our fun travel stories and experiences. I'm just rambling. It's like 1 a.m. and I'm like, I don't know where to stop. Okay. Well, thanks for listening. We will see you all next week. And we are
The Quirky Cast.
Bye.
Ciao.
Ciao. Bella.